I'm Tess.
And I'm Ravi. We're the presenters, and we're here in the studio with our producer, Gordon. Hi, Gordon.
Hello!
And he'll be back later with another one of his, jokes.
Yeah.
Now, last week, I told you that Tess loved riding her mountain bike, and you've been away riding your bike this week, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Where did you go?
We went to the Lake District in the northwest.
Oh, beautiful. For our listeners who don't know, the Lake District is in the northwest of England, and it's a really beautiful part of the country. I went there last year, you know. It's a difficult place to ride a bike, though. Lots of hills.
I like riding up hills.
I prefer riding down them. Did you stay in hotels?
No, we were camping. We took 2 small tents with us, and at the end of every day, we just put the tents up on a campsite. It was great, really relaxing.
What was the weather like? Camping's great when the weather's okay, but when it's raining, it's horrible.
Yeah, we were really lucky. It was really sunny. Well, it rained one day, but that was okay.
Sounds great. I need a holiday. But, well, I think I prefer to spend my holidays on the beach. It sounds like a lot of hard work, Tess.
I love it. I'm going again next year. I can't wait. But it's time to move on to the rest of the show. I know we've got lots of interesting people to hear from.
So, let's start with our I'd Like to Meet section. In this part of the show, we ask people a simple question. Which famous person, dead or alive, would you like to meet? And of course, we ask them to explain why. Our guest today on I'd Like to Meet is Yasmin from Cardiff. Hello, Yasmin, and welcome to the show.
Hello, it's nice to be here.
Hello, Yasmin. Can you tell us something about yourself?
Well, my name's Yasmin. I'm 18 years old. I live in Cardiff, that's in Wales, and I'm training to be a beauty therapist.
A beauty therapist. That's a good job. Now I'm going to ask the question. So, Yasmin, which famous person, dead or alive, would you like to meet?
Oh, I'd like to meet Shakira.
Shakira? This'll be interesting. Can you tell us something about her?
Sure. She's a singer and a dancer too. She's from Colombia and she sings in Spanish and English.
And why did you choose Shakira to talk about today?
For quite a lot of reasons. First, I think she's a fantastic singer. I just fell in love with her voice the first time I heard her sing. It's so different. And then she writes her own songs. She wrote her first song when she was only 8, I think. I love singing and I write my own songs too, so I understand how difficult it is. And I'd love to sit down with her and write a song together. I'm sure she could teach me a lot.
Can you play any musical instruments?
The guitar and the piano. In the beginning, she wrote songs and sang in Spanish, and she was very famous in Latin America. But she didn't speak English, so she had to learn it. And I think she learnt it really well. I admire her because she didn't just translate her old songs from Spanish to English. She wrote new ones in English. It isn't easy to write songs in a foreign language, but her words are great, I think. She still sings in Spanish too. She records 2 versions of her songs, one in English and one in Spanish. Another reason I like her is because she's a mixture of different cultures, and that makes her music interesting. Her mother is from Colombia, but her father is Lebanese, so there's a lot of Arabic influence in her music. And not only Arabic, there's Indian, Brazilian, Iranian. She's interested in all sorts of music. And I think she's a nice person too. Her videos are very, well, you know, sexy, but I don't think she's really like that. She's got 4 dogs and she likes working in her garden. And she doesn't drink alcohol and she doesn't smoke.
Thanks, Yasmin. One more question. What would you like to talk to Shakira about if you could meet her?
Oh, lots of things. Like I said before, I'd like to ask her about how she writes her songs. And I'd like her to teach me how to dance. She's an incredible dancer.
She certainly is.
Thanks, Yasmin. That was great. I think I'd really like to meet Shakira too.
I'm sure you would, Ravi. Have you ever met anyone famous?
No, I don't think so. Only you, Tess.
Oh. Right, listeners. Remember that we'd like to hear from you. Which famous person, dead or alive, would you like to meet, and why? Email us at learnenglishpodcast@british.org. That's learnenglishpodcast, all one word, at British, all one word, .org. That's ORG. Let us know which famous person you would like to meet, and you could appear on the programme.
OK, now it's quiz time. This week, we're going to play Hot Seat, and here to play are Ben and Poppy. Hi.
Hello.
You're brother and sister, aren't you? Who's the oldest?
I am. I'm 15.
And I'm 14.
OK, great. Now, I'll explain how to play Hot Seat, and then we can start, OK? These cards have all got words on. One of you has to explain the words, and the other one has to guess them. But remember, you can't use the word on the card. You have to guess as many words as you can in 1 minute, OK? So, who's going to be in the hot seat?
I am. I'll guess and Ben will explain the words.
OK, you've got 1 minute. Are you ready, Ben?
Ready?
Ready, Poppy?
Ready?
Go!
It's yellow. It's a fruit.
Banana.
It's got 4 wheels. You drive it.
Car?
Yes. You eat it. You make sandwiches with it.
Bread.
You write in it.
Diary.
No, you use it in school and you write in it.
Is it exercise book?
Yes. It's a sport.
Football.
No. You hit the ball over the net. Wimbledon.
Tennis.
It tells the time. It's got 2 hands.
A watch.
No, it's on the wall.
A clock.
A big shop. You do all the shopping there. You buy food there.
Supermarket.
Yes. It's an animal. It's a pet. It says woof.
Dog.
It's green. It... Oh!
Stop! Wow, well done. Let's count them. How many was that? I think it was 8. Yes, 8. Well done, you two.
Well done. And if any of you listening have a good game we can play in quiz time, write to us and let us know. The address is learnenglishpodcast@british.org. We'd love to hear your ideas for games we can play.
OK, now it's time for Our Person In. This is the part of the show where we hear from people in different countries around the world. This week, we're going to listen to Rachel Glover. Rachel is our woman in Argentina.
I came to live in Buenos Aires, the capital city of Argentina, in 1998. On my first night in this beautiful city, I went for a walk in the streets near my new flat. In a small square, close to my home, I heard music. I went to have a look, and for the first time, I saw people dancing the tango. The tango is a dance that Argentina gave to the world, but no one knows exactly when or where people first danced the tango, or even where the word tango comes from. At the start of the 20th century, the population of Buenos Aires got much bigger, as people arrived from all over the world to start a new life in South America. More than 1 million people came from Africa and from Europe, Spain, Italy, France, Russia, Poland. The tango began around this time. For me, the dance shows both the sadness of these people who had said goodbye to their homes and also the hope of a new start in Argentina. An Argentinian friend told me that you have to learn the tango if you want to understand Argentina. I decided to learn this beautiful dance. I went to a tango school in the centre of Buenos Aires and joined a class. I was very surprised to find that my teacher was not Argentinian, but Scottish. Her name was Claire Flanagan. She came to Buenos Aires 15 years ago because of her love for tango. I fell in love with the tango, and now I've fallen in love with Buenos Aires, she says.
Great. Can you dance the tango, Tess?
No, I can't. I'd love to learn.
We can learn together.
OK then. Right. Earlier we listened to Yasmin talking about Shakira. Remember, Yasmin told us that Shakira records 2 versions of her songs, one in Spanish and one in English. For this week's Your Turn, we asked some students in London this question. What do you prefer, songs in English or songs in your language?
Good one. Songs in English or songs in your own language? Let's hear what they said.
I prefer songs in English because I watch MTV all the time, and the songs I like are always in English. Russian songs, I come from Russia, are not as good to dance to as songs in English, and it can help me learn English too.
I like some songs in English and some songs in Japanese, but I think I like songs in Japanese best because the words are very important to me. In English songs, you can't always hear all the words, or you don't understand some words, but when I listen to Japanese songs, I can really understand the meaning of the song.
I really like rap music, so I listen to a lot of music in English, mostly American music. There are some singers in Germany who rap in German, but it doesn't sound very good to me. I don't think German is a good language for rapping. I learn some new English words from rap music, but I think some of them are words I can't say in the classroom.
I come from Mexico, and I like songs in Spanish bass, because I think a lot of the songs I hear in English are a bit stupid. I mean, it's only I love you baby, or I wanna dance with you baby. The songs I listen to in Spanish are better because the words are about real things and feelings.
Well, I think it's a strange question. It's too difficult to answer. It depends. Sometimes I like to listen to songs in English, and I study the words and learn some new things. But sometimes I just listen to songs in Greek, where I understand all the words. I like some songs in English and some songs in Greek. If the music's good, I like it.
Interesting. What sort of music do you like, Tess?
Oh, I listen to all kinds of music, but I love music I can dance to.
And always in English?
Usually, yeah. Right, now it's time to meet Carolina again. Remember that Carolina is from Venezuela. She's come to Britain to live, study and, she hopes, have a good time. And we're going with her.
She speaks very good English, but this is her first visit to Britain, so some things are very strange for her. Last time we heard Carolina at the immigration desk at the airport, where they checked her passport. Next, Carolina went to collect her suitcase, but, unfortunately, her suitcase didn't appear.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the lost luggage office is, please?
It's over there. That desk over there, near the exit.
Thank you. Hello. My bag hasn't arrived. What do I have to do?
Okay, where have you arrived from?
From Venezuela, Caracas.
And you're sure that your bag isn't on the carousel?
I'm sure. I've waited for an hour. All the other people on my flight have gone. There are no more bags coming out.
Okay, we'll need to fill in a report. Can I have your name, please?
It's Carolina. And my surname is Lopez.
Okay, now we need a description of the bag. Can you tell me what it looks like?
It's a black suitcase, quite big.
Look at these pictures. Which one looks most like your suitcase?
This one, I think.
The biggest one?
Yes, I think so.
And is it all black? The handle as well?
Yes, everything. A black suitcase and a black handle.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, there was a label on it, with my name. And there's a little white star on the top next to the handle, so I can see that it's mine.
Little white star. OK, anything else?
No, I think that's everything.
OK, don't worry, I'm sure we'll find it. Can you wait a few minutes while I make some calls?
OK, thank you.
Oh, poor Carolina. I hope they found her bag.
Me too. We'll hear more next time, but that's almost everything for today before we listen to Tom, our English teacher.
Just time for one more thing. Gordon!
Yes, here I am.
OK then, Gordon. Let's hear your joke for today.
OK, it's a camping joke. Tess, you'll love it.
Come on then.
Well, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson are on a camping trip in the countryside. Late at night, Holmes and Watson are lying on their backs, looking up at all the stars in the sky. Sherlock Holmes says, "Dr. Watson, look at all the stars and tell me what important question we have to ask." Dr. Watson says, "Well, OK, there are millions and millions of stars in the sky. No one knows exactly how many. There are planets out there that no one has seen with a telescope. Maybe there is a planet somewhere that is just like Earth. I think the question we have to ask is there life in another part of our universe?" And Sherlock Holmes says, "Watson, you idiot! The question we have to ask is, where is our tent?"
That's quite good, actually, Gordon. Not bad.
Well, that really is all we've got time for. We have to go now, but don't go away. After this little break, you're going to hear Tom, our studio English teacher. After every podcast, Tom talks about the language you heard and gives you ideas to help you learn. So, don't go away. But we'll say goodbye now. See you next time.
Bye.
Hello again, I'm Tom. At the end of every programme, I'll talk about some of the language you heard in the programmes and talk about ways to help you learn English. Let's start by looking at something Carolina said. Listen to how she asked for directions.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the lost luggage office is, please?
It's over there. That desk over there, near the exit.
When she asked for directions, Carolina said, "Can you tell me where the lost luggage office is, please?" But that isn't the only way to ask for directions. Can you think of other ways? Carolina could also say, "Can you tell me the way to the lost luggage office, please?" Or, "Can you tell me how to get to the lost luggage office, please?" There are different ways to ask for directions. You might know some other ways. One thing, though, that's very important is that Carolina asked politely.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the lost luggage office is, please?
Carolina said, "Excuse me," and "please" when she asked. In Britain we say please and thank you a lot. We're very polite. Some people might not be very happy if you forget to say please and thank you, so try to remember it. Now, Carolina used "can you tell me" to ask for directions, but we heard "can" in other parts of the programme too. Listen.
Great. Can you dance the tango, Tess?
No, I can't. I'd love to learn.
And Tess asked Yasmin,
Can you play any musical instruments?
Ravi said, "Can you dance the tango?" And Tess asked, "Can you play any musical instruments?" In these questions, can is used to talk about ability. I can swim. I can play the piano. When Carolina asked for directions, "Can you tell me?" can is used as a request, when you ask someone to do something. We use can to talk about ability, and we also use it to make a request. Let's listen again to how Ravi introduced the hot seat game.
OK, great. Now, I'll explain how to play hot seat and then we can start, OK? These cards have all got words on. One of you has to explain the words and the other one has to guess them.
Ravi had a pile of cards, and each card had a word on it. Now, maybe you don't have anyone around to play hot seat with, but writing words on cards can still be useful. When I learnt Russian, I got a pile of cards, and I wrote a Russian word on one side of the card and the English translation on the other side. I put the cards in my coat pocket, and every day on the bus to work, I read the cards to see how many I remembered. Every time I learnt a new word in my Russian class, I made a card for it, so there were always new cards in my pocket. It really helped me remember new words. You should try it. And if you've got a friend to play hot seat with, that's even better. OK, I want to have a quick look at something else. After every podcast, I'll show you something that you can try to use in your own English, an expression or something like that. This week, it was something that Carolina heard in the airport. Listen again to Carolina describing her bag to the man. Listen to the questions that the man asks.
Look at these pictures. Which one looks most like your suitcase?
This one, I think.
The biggest one?
Yes, I think so.
And is it all black? The handle as well?
Yes, everything. A black suitcase and a black handle.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, there was a label on it with my name. And there's a little white star on the top next to the handle, so I can see that it's mine.
Little white star. Okay, anything else?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, don't worry, I'm sure we'll find it.
When Carolina described her bag, the man said, "Anything else?" Carolina said, "No, that's everything." Anything else is something you hear quite a lot. You hear it in shops and restaurants. When you ask for something, the shop assistant or waiter may say, "Anything else?" to check if your order is finished. You can reply, "That's everything," or, of course, you can ask for something else. Remember that we usually use anything in questions and negative sentences. That's why the question is, anything else? Try to use anything else before the next podcast. OK, I'm going to stop there. I'll talk to you all again next time. Bye for now. See you next time.
I'd like to thank you both for coming along today. Pam, this is your new book, Taking the Blues Out of Work, How to Deal with Work-Related Health Problems.
Yes.
And Steve, you've just recovered from work burnout, one of the most serious and common work-related problems, yes?
Yes, that's right. I'm in the book. Pam used me as a case study.
Yes. Steve came along to my clinic for help. He had a serious case of burnout. He followed a course of therapy and
And she helped me to get my health back again.
Well, that's great. It's good to hear there's a happy ending. Pam, could you tell us what work burnout actually is? Aren't we just talking about stress here? Is there a difference?
Yes, there is a difference. A very big difference. But that's a good question because most people make the mistake of thinking that burnout is just another word for stress. So I'll start with that. Everyone understands stress. We live in a world where stress is part of our everyday lives. Burnout can be the result of too much stress, but it isn't the same thing. I once heard somebody say that if stress is like drowning in an overload of work, burnout is more like being all dried up. With stress, we lose our energy. With burnout, we lose much more, our motivation, our hope. And one very important difference between stress and burnout is that we know when we're stressed, but we don't usually realise we are suffering from burnout.
Until it's too late.
Exactly.
Steve, how did you know that your problem was more serious than just being stressed?
Well, I didn't realise myself. Other people realised first. I changed my behaviour and started feeling really negative and cynical about everything. That wasn't me at all. I've always been a happy-go-lucky sort of bloke. It got to the point where I felt so hopeless and depressed that I couldn't even face getting up in the morning. My wife made me an appointment with the doctor. He was helpful and referred me to Pam.
Well, Steve was lucky to have the support of his family and friends. It's difficult to get better on your own. It's important to do normal things. Exercise, socialise, go for a walk, meet a friend for a coffee.
And did Steve need medication?
No.
We decided to try with everything else first. Medication can be effective. Antidepressants aren't the same these days as they used to be, but Steve got better without any. In fact, it was something he felt quite strongly about.
I don't even like taking an aspirin unless I really have to, so I think I made a real effort to listen to Pam and do the things she suggested. I even started meditating.
Meditating?
Yes, it can really help. It calms the mind and helps to shut out the world's distractions.
And how are you now, Steve?
I feel great. Better than I have for years.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Now let's talk a bit about the more general picture.
Jamie Oliver wants to change people's lives, and he is using food to do it. Oliver, a chef, is well known for sharing his secrets of cooking healthy food through his magazine, cookbooks, and television shows. He is also changing lives through his Italian restaurant, 15. 15 started in London, England, as a place to train young adults to work in a kitchen. Oliver's idea was to create a professional kitchen that can help young people get a fresh start and a chance to become professional chefs. Every September, a new group of 18 to 24-year-olds start work at 15. When they start, they are usually not qualified for a restaurant job, but that will change quickly. In the 12 months of training, the student chefs study cooking at college and get hands-on training at the restaurant. Besides learning kitchen skills, they learn the importance of using fresh ingredients and how to create their own recipes. And their education doesn't stop with preparing and serving food. The students also learn how to manage money and deal with difficult customers. Overall, the program encourages them to believe in themselves and enables them to look forward to a future in the restaurant business. The restaurant's name, 15, comes from the number of students the restaurant had when it started in 2002. Today, Oliver has 3 of these restaurants, and a few hundred students have finished the program. Around 90% of the graduates are still working in the food industry. Some own restaurants or work in some of the best kitchens around the world. Others are now starring in their own TV shows. They're all great examples of what young people can do if they're given the opportunity and support.
In 2011, on the popular American TV quiz show Jeopardy! 2 champions competed against a brand new opponent. Both Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter had won millions of dollars on Jeopardy! Jennings once won 74 games in a row, the most ever. Then Rutter beat him in a tournament and set a new record for the most money won on Jeopardy! Their new opponent, Watson, had never appeared on the game show and had only played practice games before, in which he often got answers wrong. However, Watson isn't human. He, or rather it, is a machine, a wonder of technology made by researchers at IBM. In the game, Watson used math to decide on an answer. When a question was read out, Watson was immediately given the same question in electronic form. It analyzed the question and searched its memory bank, about the same as 1 million books of information, for possible answers. It then narrowed the options down to one answer. If Watson felt around 75% confident about the answer, it would answer the question. The way Watson thinks is very different from the way humans think. People often make decisions by listening to their emotions and feelings, even if they are unsure of the answer. As a computer, Watson couldn't do this. People also watch and listen to those around them. Watson was not able to listen to the wrong answers given by his competitors. In one question, Jennings answered the question incorrectly, and Watson later answered with the same wrong answer. Watson also made silly mistakes. In a question in the category U.S. cities, Watson incorrectly answered Toronto, even though the city of Toronto is in Canada. An IBM researcher said Watson got confused because it saw in its memory bank that the U.S. is often called America. Toronto is considered a North American city, so that was the answer that Watson gave. Still, Watson defeated his human opponents somewhat easily and received the $1 million prize. The other players also won money for participating in the special game. Everyone left the game happy, as each player was earning money for a different charity.
The other day, my friends and I had a discussion about the most useful invention of all time. There were many good ideas: the train, the car, and the airplane. They're all useful, but they were not my choices. For an everyday, useful invention, I vote for the air conditioner. I live in Taipei, and during the summer the temperature can be 35 degrees Celsius or higher. It's so hot. I'm not joking when I say that without an air conditioner, people here couldn't work or study. The weather is so hot that it can make you feel unwell if you don't drink enough water and get enough rest. What do you guys think is the most useful invention of all time?
I don't know if I agree with you, Cindy. For me, the most useful invention of all time is surely the internet. We can now reach people and do business faster. I own a clothing store in Mexico City, and there's a lot of competition. I also have a website. Now, people from all over the world can buy my clothing. With emails, I can keep in touch with friends and family in Mexico and around the world. It's faster than usual mail, and it's cheaper than using the phone.
Jorge, I also think that the internet is useful. But, in my opinion, there is an invention that is even more important, and that's electricity. Of course, this isn't a man-made invention, but without people like Benjamin Franklin and Alessandro Volta, we wouldn't have learned how to use it. And without electricity, many of the world's most important modern inventions would not work.
Would you like to go on a holiday and earn money at the same time? Go on a working holiday. Here are 3 places to try.
A ski resort. For anyone who loves the snow, helping out at a ski resort is hardly what you would call work. Most workers ski as part of their job and can usually go skiing on the resort slopes during their free time. Of course, that's why there is so much competition for these jobs. There are many things you could do, like being a ski instructor, a ski lift operator, or a groundskeeper. You can also work inside the hotels. The work is fun, but the pay is usually quite low. However, for anyone who loves the outdoors and skiing, such an opportunity is not to be missed.
A fruit farm. If you don't mind getting a little dirty, a fruit farm is an excellent choice for a working holiday in spring or autumn. The job usually involves helping farmers pick fruit and plant seeds. You might also help make jams and baked goods with the fruits you pick, and even get to sell your creations at local farmers markets. While the pay isn't much, farms usually give workers food and a comfortable place to sleep for free. The best part about such work is that farms are found all over the world, from New Zealand to India to Ecuador.
On a yacht or cruise ship. Want to get paid to see the world? Find a job on a tourist yacht or a cruise ship. You'll get to visit exotic places and even some hard-to-reach islands. There are many kinds of jobs available, from cooking and cleaning to organizing fun activities for the guests. Working on a ship can be stressful because there are so many things to do, and you have to take care of many people. You should be able to work well in a team and under pressure. During the warmer seasons, you can stay cool in places like Alaska. When it turns cold, you can stay warm by visiting the Caribbean. It's not the most highly paid job, but it's surely the most exciting. College is an exciting time to learn and to make friends that will last a lifetime. Many students do not like to worry about money and would rather not think about it. However, it doesn't matter whether a student's parents pay for everything or whether the student works part-time to help pay for his or her education. All students can get into money trouble if they're not careful. The cost of a college education can be high. In English-speaking countries, the average cost per student per year can be well over $15,000 US. Students must also pay for books, paper, pens, etc. These can cost $500 to $1,000 per year. Students must also pay thousands more per year for room and board. Add money for clothes, travel, and other personal expenses, and the average cost of 1 year at university can be $20,000 to $30,000 or more. So, students need to spend their money carefully. At most universities, counselors can give students advice on how to budget their money. This is what they suggest. At the start of a school semester, write down your income. For example, money you will get from your family or from a part-time job. Then, list all of your expenses. Put your expenses into 2 groups, those that change, food, phone, books, travel, and those that will stay the same, tuition, room and board. Add together all of your expenses. Are they more than your income? Will you need to borrow from family or friends? Or will you need to get more money by doing part-time work? Often, students find it is easier to plan out their own budget and save their own money, rather than trying to borrow from others. As you can see, there's more to learn at college than just what's taught in the classroom.
My name's Ravi.
And I'm Tess. I'm from London and Ravi's from Manchester. And we're your presenters.
And there's one more important person for you to meet, our producer, Gordon. Say hello to everyone, Gordon.
Hello!
And how are you today, Gordon?
Very well, Tess. And you?
I'm fine. Good. We'll speak to Gordon again later in the show. Ooh, you're very smart today, Ravi. Is that a new shirt you're wearing?
Yes, lovely, isn't it?
But you told me you're trying to save money. You said no more new clothes.
Well, I know, but, well, you know me, Tess. I saw it in the shop and I liked it, so I had a look at it. But they didn't have my size, so I thought, oh well, never mind. And then I looked again and they did have my size. So I thought, well, I'll try it on, but I won't buy it. And then I tried it on, and of course it looked fantastic. And the shop assistant said it looked really good. And I still thought, no, I won't buy it. And then I looked at the price, and it was quite expensive, so I thought, no, I can't buy it. And then the shop assistant said that it was in the sale. Last week it was £80, but this week it was only £40. That's half price. So I bought it.
£40 for a shirt?
But look at it. It's a great shirt. We have to dress well now, Tess. We're celebrities.
This is a podcast, Ravi. It isn't MTV. Nobody can see you.
Ah, that's true. But I feel well dressed. That's the important thing. Now, let's move on to our I'd like to meet section. In this part of the podcast, we ask people a simple question. Which famous person, dead or alive, would you like to meet? And we ask them to explain why. And today on I'd like to meet, we've got Martin with us. Hello, Martin. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Ravi. Hello, Tess.
Hi, Martin. And where are you from?
I'm from Glasgow, the biggest city in Scotland.
But Glasgow isn't the capital city, is it?
No, Edinburgh's the capital city, but Glasgow's a lot bigger. And we call it the shopping capital of Scotland. We've got great shops in Glasgow. It's a great city.
I'd like to visit sometime. I'm the king of shopping. Ask Tess, she knows.
It's true.
Now it's time for the question. So, Martin, which famous person, dead or alive, would you like to meet?
I'd like to meet Jonathan Ive.
Jonathan Ive? I don't know who he is.
Not very many people know his name. He's English, but he works for Apple, the computer company. He joined the company in 1992. He's a vice president now, I think, and he's the man who designed the iMac and the iPod.
Wow! The man who invented the iPod?
No, he didn't invent it. He's a designer. He designed it. He's designed other things too, of course, but the iMac and the iPod are my favourites. They're design classics.
OK. And why did you choose Jonathan
Ive
to talk about today?
Well, I'm a student and I study design, industrial design. And for anyone who studies industrial design, well, Jonathan Ive is the king. You know, he's a genius. He's the most important industrial designer in the world. The most important thing for industrial designers is function. You know, what something is used for, what it can do. And with computers, speed was the most important thing. Nobody cared what they looked like. People just wanted them to be fast, really fast. But when Jonathan Ive designed the iMac for Apple, he designed something beautiful. And people loved it. It was still a good computer and very easy to use, but they also loved the way it looked. The round shape, the colours, and they all bought it. It was very, very popular. I got my first iMac in 1999. It was orange, bright orange. It was beautiful. And I think that was the moment when I first decided to be a designer.
And what about the iPod?
Well, the iPod looks fantastic too. It's another example of perfect design. First, it's a fantastic idea. It changed the way that millions of people listen to music. Even the Queen's got an iPod. And then it's really easy to use. And finally, it's incredibly beautiful. It's beautiful to look at. That's what perfect design is. And that's why he's my hero.
And is there a special question that you'd like to ask Jonathan Ive?
I'd like to know why he doesn't want to be famous, why he doesn't like publicity. Perhaps he's shy, but he never talks about his personal life. He never goes to social events. You never see his picture in magazines. Everyone in the world knows the iMac and the iPod, but nobody knows the name Jonathan Ive. I suppose I'd like to ask him how he feels about that.
Well, I've learnt something today.
So have I. Thank you very much, Martin.
You're welcome.
I'd like to know what the Queen listens to on her iPod.
Yeah. OK, now it's quiz time. Every week we'll have a little quiz to make you think. This week it's another 10-second quiz. It's very easy. We give you a topic and you give as many answers as you can in 10 seconds. For example, if we say things that are blue, you can write down the sky or the sea, as many words as you can think of in 10 seconds. Our two players today are Marina. Hello, Marina.
Hello.
And Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hello.
And could you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
I'm Ricky. You know that. And I'm from Croydon, south of London. And I'm 17.
And I'm Marina. I'm 16 and a half, and I'm from Croydon too. We're at the same school.
And now for the game. Do you both understand what to do?
Yeah.
OK, let's start. You've got 10 seconds to write down things that are yellow, OK? So, for example, you could say banana, OK? A banana is yellow. So, Things that are yellow. Go! Okay. Marina, how many have you got?
6.
And how about you, Ricky?
Only 5.
Okay, so let's hear your 6 words, Marina. Things that are yellow.
The sun, lemons, cheese, the moon, sometimes, butter, and my hair.
Your hair? Can we allow that, Ravi?
I think so. Her hair's blonde, I suppose that's yellow. Do you agree, Gordon? Yes? OK, you're the winner, Marina. Well done. Sorry, Ricky.
Actually, yellow things is really difficult. Can you think of any more, Ravi?
Well, when Marina said butter, I thought of margarine, but yes, a very difficult quiz.
So, well done to both of you. But congratulations to Marina, our winner.
Thanks, Tess. Bye.
Bye.
What's next, Tess?
The next part of the podcast is called Our Person In. Every week we listen to people in interesting places all over the world tell us something about life in the country they're in. Today it's Bob Harrison's turn. Bob lives in South Africa and he's going to tell us about a very unusual musical instrument. Bob is our man in South Africa.
If you're a football fan, you'll know that the World Cup in 2010 will take place here in South Africa. When the famous names and the big stars walk out into the stadiums in 2010, they will hear a sound they've never heard before, the vuvuzela. The vuvuzela is almost a musical instrument, but not quite, and you hear it at every football match in South Africa. It's about 1 meter long, and it sounds a bit like an angry elephant. When you hear a stadium full of fans blowing their vuvuzelas, the sound is something you'll never forget. Football is very popular in South Africa. The stadiums fill up early with fans, especially when the South African national team, called the Bafana Bafana by their fans, are playing. The smell of food is everywhere. Barbecued chicken or beef are very popular choices for football matches, and everywhere the sound of vuvuzelas. Not everyone loves this strange music. Some fans say they've stopped going to matches because the noise is so awful and so, well, noisy. But as for me, well, I like it. I think it makes football matches in South Africa different from anywhere else in the world. The only thing is, I can't play the vuvuzela. When I blow, it doesn't sound like an angry elephant so much as a bored bee. I need to practice before 2010.
So, it will soon be World Cup time again, Ravi. Are you looking forward to it? You're a football fan, aren't you?
Am I looking forward to it? I can't wait! And I'd love to go to South Africa to watch it. Those vuvuzelas sound amazing. And barbecued chicken.
You'd better start saving your money then.
What money? I haven't got any.
Exactly.
But you like my shirt, admit it. Anyway, we'll hear from another one of our people in the next podcast.
Now it's time for your turn. In this part of the show, we go outside to find out what people think. And today, we're going to stay on the subject of football. We've just heard about the World Cup in 2010. But how many people know about another World Cup in 2007? The Women's World Cup. Do you watch women's football, or maybe play it? Do you like it? Is it better than men's football? Why don't more people watch or play women's football? Why is men's football so much more popular than women's football? So, here's the question for today. Why don't more people watch women's football?
Good question, Tess. Why don't more people watch women's football? Let's listen to the answers.
Well, I don't watch women's football because I don't like football, and that's that. All the football fans I know are men, so of course they like to watch men play. They'd only want to watch women if they were, you know, attractive, wearing little tight T-shirts and very small shorts. That's most men's attitude. I can't understand why women want to play football anyway. It's a ridiculous game. Don't they have anything better to do with the time?
I think it's just traditional in a lot of countries that football is a man's game. I used to play football. We call it soccer. At home in the States, actually. It's really big there. Girls and boys play together at school. There are about 7 million women who play regularly in the States. I think it's because your football is quite new as a sport in the States, so we don't really see it as a man's game. We don't have the same tradition. It's a game for everybody.
I love watching women's football. I play at school. Lots of girls do. My mum says I'm football crazy. I'm in the school team, and I want to play professionally one day. Girls play better than boys. They don't lie down on the ground and cry and pretend they're hurt, and they don't argue with the referee all the time. And they aren't violent. They don't try to hurt each other.
People don't watch it because they don't know about it. Lots of girls and women play football nowadays. The problem is getting people to pay to watch it. We need to take women's football more seriously. We need advertising and companies to sponsor games and teams. We need a proper professional women's league with good paying conditions. We need to see more games on television. Then people might be more interested.
People don't watch it because it isn't very good. It's as simple as that. I've watched some women's football, and to be honest, they don't play very well. They're slower than men. They aren't as good technically. The games are boring. Men's football is good to watch. Women's isn't. Maybe that will change in the future, but at the moment, well, I certainly don't want to watch it.
Interesting. What do you think, Ravi?
Well, to be honest, I've never watched a women's football game, but now I think I will, just to see what it's like.
Me too. I agree.
OK, now it's time to meet Carolina again. Carolina is from Venezuela, and she's visiting Britain for the first time. It's a big adventure for her. She's going to live, study, and, she hopes, have a good time here in the UK. And we're going with her. In the last podcast, we listened to a conversation that Carolina had at Heathrow Airport in London. Do you remember what happened, Tess?
Yep. She lost her luggage. She was waiting at the lost luggage desk to see if they could find it.
That's right. Let's listen to what happened next.
Yes, that's right, from Caracas. A blue bag.
No, it isn't blue, it's black.
Oh, sorry. Black, not blue. Yeah, he's looking for it now.
All right.
Yeah, that's the name. Yeah, that's right. Okay, thanks, Ben.
Have you found it? Is it my bag?
Yes, this is your lucky day.
Oh.
One of the baggage handlers is bringing it up now, so you can identify it.
Oh, thank you so much. I have to get to King's Cross Station to get the train to Newcastle at 8 o'clock. How long does it take? Have I got enough time?
By tube or train?
Tube? I don't understand.
The underground. You know, the metro. Oh. We call it the tube here.
Yes, on the tube.
Oh, you've got plenty of time. The tube takes about an hour. Probably less at this time of the evening. Oh. Don't worry, it's very easy to find the station. Just follow the signs.
Here you are, love. One black bag from Caracas.
Oh, yes, that's mine. Thank you.
Could you sign your name here? And,
Excuse me. Could you tell me which train goes to King's Cross Station, please?
Piccadilly line, miss. The dark blue one on the map. Just follow the signs to the platform. You want an eastbound train. You're going east.
And do I need to change trains?
No, Heathrow and King's Cross are both on the Piccadilly line. You don't need to change.
Thank you.
Miss?
Yeah?
You need to buy a ticket first. You can't go into the station without a ticket.
Oh, okay.
The ticket machines are over there.
Oh, thank you. But I haven't got any English money yet. I didn't have time to change any in the airport.
The machines take Visa or MasterCard.
Oh, good. I've got a Visa card. Thank you.
Then you just put your ticket into the slot to go through the turnstile over there.
Right.
Put your ticket in and you'll see a green light.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can go through. And look after your ticket, don't lose it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need to put it into the slot again when you leave the tube station at King's Cross.
Okay. Thank you for your help.
So Carolina found her luggage in the end. Lucky girl. I lost a suitcase once and I had to wait 10 days to get it back.
You? No clothes for 10 days? How did you live?
I had to buy some new ones, of course.
So it wasn't a completely terrible experience then?
No, not really.
Are you ready for me?
OK, Gordon. Right, it's time for Gordon's joke.
Mm-hmm.
What have you got for us today, Gordon?
A good one, as usual. Are you ready?
Go ahead, Gordon.
A man went into a pet shop one day. "I'd like a parrot that talks," he said. The shop assistant said, "I'm sorry, sir, but you have to teach your parrot to speak." So the man bought a parrot and took it home with him. A week later he went back to the pet shop. "My parrot still doesn't speak," he said. "Oh, really? Well, perhaps he's bored. You should buy this little swimming pool. He can have a swim, and then he might talk," explained the shop assistant. So he bought the swimming pool and went home. The next week the man came back again. "He's still not talking," he said. "Oh dear. Buy this mirror, he'll swim in the pool, get out and look at himself, then talk." So the man bought the mirror and went away. A week later he came back a final time. "My parrot is dead," he said. "Oh dear, I'm very sorry about that, sir. But tell me, before he died, did he say anything?" "Yes, he did, but only one thing." "Really? What was that?" "Give me food."
Oh, Gordon, that's horrible. He didn't give it any food. Oh, poor parrot.
And that's the end of this part of the show. We're going now, but please don't go away. After this little break, you're going to hear Tom, our English teacher, on the podcast. After every show, Tom talks about the language you heard and gives you ideas to help you learn. So stay with us, but I'll say goodbye now. See you next time.
Bye.
Hi, my name's Tom. You'll hear from me at the end of every podcast. I'm going to talk about some of the language that you heard in the podcast and talk about ways to help you learn English. In the last podcast, we talked about using "can you" for a request, to ask someone to do something. Listen.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the lost luggage office is, please?
Today we listened to Carolina at the underground station asking someone to help her. Listen to what she said.
Excuse me, could you tell me which train goes to King's Cross Station, please?
Piccadilly line, miss.
Carolina says, "Could you?" We use "can you" or "could you" when we're talking to friends or people that we know well. But we often use "could you" with people that we don't know very well, when we want to be very polite. Here's another example at the airport.
Here you are, love. One black bag from Caracas.
Oh, yes, that's mine. Thank you.
Could you sign your name here?
The man at the lost luggage desk uses "could you" to Carolina because he's being polite. Listen to the pronunciation. Could. Could. You spell it C-O-U-L-D, but the letter L is silent. Could. Now listen to the words together. Could you? The individual words are could and you, but when we say them together we say could you. We do this a lot in English. Here's another example. When we ask a question in the past, we can use did you? The individual words are did and you, but together we say did you. A good learner's dictionary will tell you how to pronounce individual words like could. It uses special symbols, but it doesn't tell you how words sound when we put them together. It's a good idea to make a note of the pronunciation of common phrases like could you or did you. You can use words and sounds from your own language. This will help you to remember how to say them. There's another thing I noticed in the same dialogue. Listen to it again, and notice what the man says when he gives Carolina her bag.
Here you are, love. One black bag from Caracas.
Oh, yes, that's mine. Thank you.
Could you sign your name here?
He called her Love. Do you remember the old lady at the airport who called Carolina dear? Love is very similar. Older people might call you Love sometimes, even if they don't know you. They're just being friendly, so don't think it's strange. Now, let's talk about something different. The verb look. Listen to Ravi and Tess.
£40 for a shirt?
But look at it. It's a great shirt.
Ravi is using look in the usual way. He wants Tess to look at his shirt carefully to see how nice it is. Now listen to look in this section about Carolina's lost bag.
Oh, sorry. Black, not blue. Yeah, he's looking for it now.
The man used look for. He isn't looking at Carolina's bag. He doesn't know where it is. He's trying to find it. That's what look for means, to try to find something. The meaning of look changes because of for. Now listen to another section about Carolina's ticket. How is look used here?
And look after your ticket, don't lose it. You'll need to put it into the slot again when you leave the tube station at King's Cross.
The man tells Carolina to look after her ticket. He means take care of it, don't lose it. The meaning of look changes because of after. So, look at, look for, and look after all have different meanings. There are lots and lots of verbs like this in English, verbs that change their meanings. Look is just one example. Some people call them phrasal verbs, and some people call them multi-word verbs. In the first podcast, I talked about keeping a vocabulary notebook. Use your notebook to make a note of any multi-word verbs that you notice. You can usually understand their meaning in a sentence, or you can use a learner's dictionary. For example, you can keep a page of your vocabulary book just for look, and make new pages for other verbs when you come across them. There you are, another example. Come across means to find something accidentally, when you aren't trying to find it. So, now you can start another page for come. Now for something different. Do you remember the name of the strange musical instrument that they play at football matches in South Africa? Listen.
When the famous names and the big stars walk out into the stadiums in 2010, they will hear a sound they've never heard before. The vuvuzela. The vuvuzela is almost a musical instrument, but not quite, and you hear it at every football match in South Africa.
Yes, it's the vuvuzela. But I'm not really interested in the name. I want you to notice that he says the vuvuzela. In English, we use the with the names of musical instruments. So we say, I can play the piano, or can you play the guitar? This may be different in your language, so try to remember it. That's nearly the end. Just one more thing before I go. Here's a phrase that I'd like you to try and use this week. It's another multi-word verb with look, so you can add it to your look page in your vocabulary notebook. Listen to Ravi and Tess talking about the 2010 World Cup.
So, it will soon be World Cup time again, Ravi. Are you looking forward to it? You're a football fan, aren't you?
Am I looking forward to it? I can't wait!
Ravi is looking forward to the World Cup. He's excited about it. He loves football and he's going to really enjoy watching it. can you translate look forward to into your language? Try to use it this week. If someone says to you, are you coming to the party on Saturday? You can say, yes, I'm really looking forward to it. OK, that's all from me. I'll talk to you all again next time. I'm looking forward to it. So, bye for now. See you next time.
I've lived in many different countries, both in Western Europe, the Middle East, and now here in Hong Kong. And during all of that time, I've learned 5 or 6 different languages, to one degree or another. I love learning languages. Not only are they important when you move to a country, I just find them fascinating. Before I came to Hong Kong, I lived in Barcelona, Spain for 10 years. And when I first arrived, the most important thing was being able to communicate with people locally. I don't attend classes. I don't think I'm particularly good in classes. I prefer to learn by just talking to people, finding out what I need to say by looking at dictionaries and listening carefully. Other things that helped me when I first moved to Spain were watching the typical kinds of programs we see every day on channels around the world. For example, the weather. This is great because they always say the same things, so you can really quickly hear the same words repeated again and again, and the pictures help, of course. Other types of program that helped me learn Spanish quickly were things like game shows, where the same thing happens. They have a catchphrase or a slogan that they repeat endlessly when contestants win or when they're called to compete. As well as that, I used to pick up the Spanish newspapers. First of all, I just accepted there was no way I was going to understand anything but 1 or 2 words. But gradually, I found that I learned lots of new things about this. I was interested because I wanted to know what was happening in the country I lived in. But I also knew that I could learn a lot of language this way, so I'd take a dictionary with me sometimes, or I'd notice a word and I'd ask other people what it meant. Anyway, by far the best practice I ever had was just talking to people in the street or in shops, where I'd rehearse in my head what I wanted to say beforehand, before I went in. Usually, I made a right mess of it first of all. But after you get over the embarrassment, it's quite funny really, and people are very sympathetic and supporting in most cases. It took me a long time to develop a good level of Spanish. I lived there for 10 years, and I think I'm very fluent now. But I think for the first 2 years that I was there, it was quite a struggle to hold a decent conversation. There were always lots of words and expressions that I didn't pick up on. In particular were the colloquial expressions, idioms, that kind of thing, that people use in everyday talk, but you don't necessarily see written down. I didn't find those very easy to learn at all. But it was a lot of fun, and people, as I said, are really supporting when they know that you're genuinely interested in learning their language.
Hello again, and welcome to Learn English Elementary podcast. I'm Ravi from Manchester.
And I'm Tess from London. We're here with Gordon, our producer. Hello, Gordon.
Hello.
And as usual, we've got lots of interesting things for you to listen to. But first of all, do you want to know my big news for this week, Ravi?
Let me guess. You're going to be the star of a brand new Hollywood movie. Oh, you won the lottery.
Not quite, Ravi. I've got a cat.
Really?
Oh, well, it's just a baby cat, a kitten, but yes, I got him yesterday. Oh, he's gorgeous.
It's a boy cat then?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get him?
Well, my friend Kate found him in the street, and Kate's already got 2 cats, so I said I'd take this one.
What colour is he?
Well, he's only small, but he's a brown tabby.
What's a tabby again? Is that the stripy one?
That's it. Tabbies are the ones with sort of dark stripes, like a tiger. Oh, he's really lovely.
What are you going to call him?
Do you know, I just don't know. I've got lots of ideas for names, but I can't decide. I thought maybe you could help me. What would you call a cat?
That's a difficult question. To be honest, Tess, I'm more of a dog person. I've never really thought about names for cats.
You don't like cats?
Well, it's not that I don't like cats. I just prefer dogs, that's all. Anyway, I've got an idea. Why don't you call your cat Gordon?
I don't think so. I need to think of a name soon, though, really. Anyway, let's move on. Let's start with I'd like to meet. If you're listening for the first time, I'd like to meet is the part of the show where someone tells us about the famous person, alive or dead, that they'd like to meet and why. This time round, we've got Olu with us. Hi, Olu.
Hi, Tess.
Where are you calling from, Olu?
From West London.
And what do you do?
I'm still at school, in Year 12.
OK. And who would you like to meet, Olu? Who are you going to talk to us about?
I'd like to meet Didier Drogba.
Drogba? The footballer? Chelsea? You do know I'm from Manchester, don't you, Olu? You know, Manchester United.
Yeah, well, it's not just because he's Chelsea.
Come on, Olu, don't listen to him. Why would you like to meet Didier Drogba? Tell us something about him.
Well, he's a footballer. You already know that. And he's from Ivory Coast in West Africa, and he plays great football.
And do you like him because he's a good footballer?
Well, I do. I like the way he plays, and he scores some great goals and all that. But there's more than that. He was born in Ivory Coast, but he moved to France when he was 5. He went on his own to live with his uncle. Imagine that. A 5-year-old boy moving to a new country by himself.
Wow.
And then he went back to Ivory Coast, but moved back to France a bit after that. His family were really poor, you know, and they had to move around to look for work and that.
So, did he start playing football in Ivory Coast?
No, in France. And this is another thing I like about him, see? Most players at the really big clubs go there when they're quite young, but Drogba played for a few years with small teams and worked his way up through hard work. He was 26, I think, when he went to Chelsea. But anyway, what I like him for most is that even though he's made it now and he's got loads of money and that, he really hasn't forgotten where he came from. He does loads of work for UNICEF. He's like an ambassador or something for them, so he does all this charity work. You see, my dad came here from Nigeria when he was really small, and I've never been to Africa, but all you see on TV is about problems in Africa all the time, so it's really good to see someone who comes from somewhere like Ivory Coast doing good things, you know.
And Ivory Coast were in the World Cup in Germany, weren't they?
Yeah, it's the first time they've got to the World Cup finals, and they did okay. Drogba was African Footballer of the Year as well.
And what would you like to say to Didier Drogba if you met him, Olu?
I guess I'd say thank you to him for the work he does for Africa and for showing people something good from Africa. And for scoring all those goals for Chelsea.
I don't know about that. But that was great, Olu, thank you. I'll tell you what, Tess, why don't you call your cat Didier? That's a great name for a cat.
I don't think so, really.
Hmm.
OK, now it's quiz time. What is it this time, Ravi?
It's something a bit different today.
Ooh.
We've got our 2 players joining us on the telephone, I hope. Hello, Vanita.
Hi, Ravi.
And hello, Jason.
Hello.
Jason, where are you from and how old are you?
I'm 15 and I'm from Durham.
Near Newcastle. That's where Carolina is. What's the weather like in Durham today, Jason?
Not great, really. It's a bit cloudy.
Oh, dear. How are things where you are, Vanita? Where are you?
I'm in Plymouth.
OK, Plymouth. We've got opposite ends of the country here. Durham and Plymouth. It's north against south. Sorry, Vanita. What's the weather like in Plymouth?
Not too bad. Quite sunny.
OK, better than Durham. Right. Do you both know what you have to do?
Yeah.
I'll explain for our listeners. I'm going to ask Jason and Vanita some questions. To answer, they press any button on their phone and we'll hear a buzzer. Let's hear yours, Jason. And yours, Vanita? Great. Now, the quiz is called Beginning With. Your answer has to begin with the letter I give you. So if I say, for example, a sport beginning with F, you could say football. Let's have a practice run to begin with. Fingers ready?
Uh-huh.
An animal beginning with P.
Oh.
Jason?
Polar bear?
Yes. OK then, let's play. First one to 3 is the winner. Ready?
Ready.
OK then, let's go. A vegetable beginning with L. Jason.
Lettuce.
Right, 1-0 to Jason. A colour beginning with Y. Jason again.
Yellow.
Right, 2-0. Come on, Vanita. A bird beginning with E. Vanita.
Eagle.
Yes, well done, Vanita. 2-1. OK. A sport beginning with G. Jason.
Golf.
Yes, that's 3 for Jason, so you're the winner. Well done, Jason. And bad luck, Vanita. He was just a bit quicker than you.
Oh, yeah.
But never mind. Well done to both of you, and thank you both for playing. Now, Tess, a cat's name beginning with...
I wish I could decide. Right, now then. The next part of our podcast is Our Person In, the part of the show where we hear from different people around the world. You'll like it this time, Ravi.
No.
You like Lord of the Rings? Graham Baxter is our man in New Zealand.
When I was a boy and I first read Lord of the Rings, I dreamt of visiting the places Tolkien, the author of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, created. Hobbiton, Middle-earth, Mount Doom. Now, finally, I have found all of these places here in New Zealand. Peter Jackson, who directed the Lord of the Rings films, was born in Wellington, the capital city of New Zealand. When he was looking for places to make the fantastic worlds he needed for his films, he knew where to look. New Zealand has all kinds of scenery, and you can see a lot of it in the 3 films. The green hills of Matamata became Hobbiton, and the Queenstown area became the Eregular Hills, and lots of other places, all with a little bit of help from computer magic. People in New Zealand are proud of their country's star role in the films, but they are also happy at what Lord of the Rings has done to bring tourists to New Zealand. After the 3rd film in the trilogy, The Return of the King, won 11 Oscars, the number of tourists who visited New Zealand went up by 8%. More than 1 billion people have visited the Lord of the Rings website. Fantastic publicity for this small country. For me, this is my boyhood dream come true. A tour of the amazing worlds of Lord of the Rings, and all right here in New Zealand.
Great! I'd love to go to New Zealand. I've always wanted to go.
Oh, me too. The scenery sounds amazing, and it always looks so green in pictures.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Now for your turn. This time, since I've got a new cat, we decided to ask people a very important question. Which do you prefer? Cats or dogs? It's a very simple question, but people have very strong opinions. Let's hear what they said.
Oh, dogs, definitely. Why? Look, if you've got a dog, it really loves you. All cats care about is who feeds them. You can think a cat loves you, but if someone else gives it food, it will be gone.
Well, I've got 2 cats, so I think you know what my answer will be. But, cats are just so much easier to look after. With dogs, you've got to take them for walks all the time, and all of that. And you have to clean up their poo. Ugh.
Ah, that's easy. Dogs are noisy, smelly and stupid. Cats are much more intelligent. If you're sitting on your sofa, right, it's lovely when a cat comes and sits on you and purrs. Would you want a big dark dog to come and sit on you?
Oh, cats are just so boring. All they do is sit around and sleep all day. They're selfish, basically. Dogs play with you and stuff. They're fun, you know.
Well, to be honest, I'm not really an animal lover. I think it's cruel to keep dogs in the city. They should be in the country. Cats make me sneeze, and they're a real problem if you want to go on holiday. If I had to have a pet, I'd probably have a goldfish.
Interesting. What about you, Tess? Why do you prefer cats?
I just do. Cats are so much more intelligent than dogs, I think. I like dogs too, but, you know, like the last person said, I think it's a bit cruel to keep a dog in a small flat like mine. Right. Now it's time to meet Carolina again. Carolina is from Venezuela, and she's come to the UK to live and study and have fun. Last time we listened, Carolina was on the train from London to Newcastle in the north of England, where she's going to study at university. Let's see what happened when she arrived in Newcastle. Another student is showing her round the student accommodation.
So that's it. And if you get lost, just ask someone.
Right.
Anyway, this is the kitchen. Like I said, there are 5 of you in this flat, and this is the kitchen for your flat. The other flats have all got their own kitchens. Right. I think that's everything. I'm going to get back. Okay. I'm sure you want some time to unpack your stuff. Some of the other girls in your flat are here already. You'll probably meet them here in the kitchen a bit later.
Okay. Thanks, Gemma. Thanks for showing me around.
No problem. I'll probably see you around. Okay. See you. I'm sure you'll have a great time in Newcastle.
Thanks. Bye. Hello. Hi. Oh, are you in room 4? Hi, come in. Hi, yes, I'm in room 4. I'm Carolina. Hi, Carolina. I'm Charlotte. Nice to meet you. I'm in room 2. We're neighbours. Oh, right. Nice to meet you. I'm Emily. I'm in number 1. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
And I'm Jenny. Hi.
Hi, Jenny. Do you all know each other?
No, we just met this afternoon. There's another girl, Beth, but she's not here at the moment. Have you just arrived? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Carolina. Yes, I arrived about an hour ago. Did you fly to Newcastle? No, I got the train to Newcastle. I flew to London, to Heathrow. Oh, okay. Where are you from? I'm from Venezuela. Really? Wow. Have you flown from Venezuela today? You must be exhausted. Yes, I am actually. I just wanted to meet you all before I went to bed.
What's the time difference between here and Venezuela?
It's 4 hours behind here, so it's 7 o'clock in the evening in Venezuela now. Do you want a cup of tea, Carolina? No thanks. I'm going to go to bed. Do any of you know where we have to go to register tomorrow? Oh, I do. I went there today. I can go with you if you want. Really? That would be great.
Can I come too? I need to register as well. What course are you doing, Carolina?
Environmental science. How about you?
French and politics. I think we have to register in the same place.
You do. It's all in the same building. Shall we go at about 9 tomorrow morning? Is that too early for you, Carolina?
No, 9 o'clock is okay. If that's okay with you. Sorry, Jenny?
9's fine. It's a date. Now you get yourself to bed, Carolina. You look exhausted.
Okay, I am. Nice to meet you all. See you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
Good night.
God, she's
really nice. She must be exhausted. Right. Carolina seems to be okay in Newcastle. Her flatmates sound nice.
Yeah. How does it work? She doesn't share a room with anyone, does she?
I don't think so. I didn't. Usually a flat has 4 or 5 rooms, single rooms, and then those 4 or 5 people have a shared kitchen and maybe a shared bathroom too.
Oh, okay, I see. Anyway, we'll hear more about Carolina next time. Now it's time for... Ta-da! Gordon and his amazing jokes! So, what have you got for us today, Gordon? Parrots? Talking dogs?
Chickens. They can't talk, though.
Okay. Come on, then. Let's hear it.
Okay. A man is driving slowly down a country road when he sees a chicken run in front of his car. Nothing strange about that, but then he notices that the chicken has 3 legs.
Oh.
How strange, he thinks. A 3-legged chicken. He starts to drive a bit faster, 40 kilometres an hour, but the chicken goes faster too. He drives a bit faster, 70 kilometres an hour, but the 3-legged chicken just runs faster too. The man goes faster and faster, but the chicken keeps running. When they're both doing over 100 kilometres an hour, the chicken turns a corner into a farm. Quickly, the man stops his car. The farmyard is full of 3-legged chickens. There are 3-legged chickens everywhere. So he sees the farmer in the farmyard and he asks him, "Where do all these 3-legged chickens come from? This is amazing." "I breed them," says the farmer. "There are 3 of us, me, my wife and our son. We all like chicken legs, so I made a 3-legged chicken so we can all have a leg at dinner time." "Amazing," says the man. "How's the meat? Does it taste good?" "Well," says the farmer, "I don't know. We haven't caught one of them yet."
I don't get it.
Oh, Tess, they can't catch the chickens because they're so fast.
So, do they taste good or not?
Never mind, Tess. Never mind. Right. That's all we've got time for this time, but don't go away. After this little break, you're going to hear Tom, our English teacher. After every show, Tom talks about the language you heard and gives you ideas to help you learn. So don't go away. But I'll say goodbye now. See you next time.
Bye.
Hi, my name's Tom. You'll hear from me at the end of every podcast. I'm going to talk about some of the language that you heard and talk about ways to help you learn English. Today, I want to talk about verbs. You probably know that most verbs in English are regular. That means that the forms are very easy to remember. For all regular verbs, we make the past form in the same way. We add ed, or just d if the verb already ends in e. For example, the verb look. The verb is look, and to make the past form, we just add ed. Looked. And the verb like. It already ends in e, so we just add d to make the past. Liked. So far, so good. But the bad news is that a lot of the most common English verbs, verbs that you need to use all the time, are irregular. This means that they don't follow the same rule. Have is an irregular verb. You already know that the past of have isn't haved, it's had. But there are a lot more of them. Listen to part of Carolina's conversation with her new flatmates. Can you hear the 3 different forms of the verb fly?
Did you fly to Newcastle? No, I got the train to Newcastle. I flew to London, to Heathrow.
Oh, okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Venezuela.
Really? Wow. Have you flown from Venezuela today? You must be exhausted.
Did you hear the 3 forms? They were fly, flew, and flown. If you use a course book or have a grammar book to study, it probably has a list of irregular verbs, and the list is organized in 3 columns. If you look for the verb fly, you will see fly in the first column, flew in the second column, and flown in the third. Listen again.
Did you fly to Newcastle? No, I got the train to Newcastle. I flew to London, to Heathrow.
Fly is the base form of the verb. Some people call it the infinitive. We use it in lots of different ways. For example, we use it with going to talk about the future. He's going to fly to London next week. We use it with do and did to make questions. Did you fly to Newcastle? Remember that this first column is not the present tense. It might look the same. We say, I fly to London every week. But remember that we say he or she flies. The second column is flew. This column is easy. It's the past simple form. Flew is the past simple of fly. Carolina flew to London and then she got the train to Newcastle. Now let's look at the third column. Listen again.
I'm from Venezuela.
Really? Wow. Have you flown from Venezuela today? You must be exhausted.
The third column is flown. Some people call it the past participle. We never use this form alone. We use it with other verbs. We often use it with have or has to make the present perfect, like Emily did. Have you flown from Venezuela today? Or we can say, I've never flown in a helicopter. We also use the third column with the verb be in sentences like, Nissan cars are made in Japan, or my bag was stolen on the bus. So that's the three columns in an irregular verb list. Now we need to think about the best way to learn these irregular forms. It probably isn't a very good idea to sit down with a list of irregular verbs and try to learn all of them. There are a lot of irregular verbs in English, and some of them will be verbs that are new to you. The important thing is to learn the three forms of the verbs that you already know, so that you can use those verbs correctly. Make a page in your notebook for irregular verbs. Make 3 columns and fill in the verbs that you already know. Verbs like make, do, meet, have and go, for example. Then write a sentence with each form as an example. Example sentences will help you to remember the forms. Then, when you find a new verb, you can add it to your list. You can find a link to a list of irregular verbs on our website. Use it to check the forms of the verbs that you know and add them to your notebook. Now, let's talk about something different. The weather. Listen to Ravi talking to the people who are going to do the quiz.
What's the weather like in Durham today, Jason?
Not great, really. It's a bit cloudy.
Oh, dear. How are things where you are, Vanita? Where are you?
I'm in Plymouth.
OK, Plymouth. We've got opposite ends of the country here. Durham and Plymouth. It's north against south. Sorry, Vanita. What's the weather like in Plymouth?
Not too bad. Quite sunny.
Now, some people say that the British talk about the weather all the time. Well, we don't talk about it all the time, but it is true that we talk about it a lot. I think one reason for that is that the weather here changes a lot. You can never be sure of the weather in Britain. It's often a surprise, so there is always something to say about it. But we don't often have long conversations about the weather. It's a very useful way of starting a conversation with someone, especially someone that you don't know very well, in a shop, for example. You can say, "Nice weather, isn't it?" Or, "What terrible weather we're having." Or, "What a lovely day." The person will respond and then probably move the conversation on to another topic. One more thing about the weather. A lot of people think that the British use the phrase, "It's raining cats and dogs." Now, this phrase does exist in English, but I must say that I've never used it in my life, and I don't remember anyone saying it to me either. It really isn't very common, and it's probably best not to use it yourself. It really isn't very natural. Before I go, I'd like to tell you about a useful phrase that I noticed in this podcast. Listen to this extract. Gemma has just shown Carolina her new flat. Listen to the phrases she uses when she says goodbye.
Right. I think that's everything. I'm going to get back.
Okay.
I'm sure you want some time to unpack your stuff. Some of the other girls in your flat are here already. You'll probably meet them here in the kitchen a bit later.
Okay, thanks, Gemma. Thanks for showing me around.
No problem. I'll probably see you around. Okay, see you. I'm sure you'll have a great time in Newcastle.
Did you notice that Gemma says, "I'll probably see you around"? Gemma hasn't made any arrangements to see Carolina again, and they aren't doing the same course, but because they both study at the same university, they might meet one day in the cafe or in a corridor. So she says, "I'll probably see you around." Try to use "I'll probably see you around" when you say goodbye to someone this week. Okay, that's all from me today. I'll talk to you all again on the next podcast. So, bye for now. See you next time.
Hi, everyone. I know you're all busy, so I'll keep this briefing quick. I have some important information about a change in the management team. As you already know, our head of department, James Watson, is leaving his position at the end of this week. His replacement is starting at the end of the next month. In the meantime, we'll continue with our projects as usual. I have 2 more quick points. Firstly, there will be some improvements made to the staff car park next month for a few weeks. It will be closed during that time. Don't worry, we've found a solution. We can use the local church car park until our own one is ready. If you arrive before 8:30 a.m., please use our small car park on Brown Street. And if you arrive after that, you should go directly to the church car park. It's only a 5-minute walk away, but they need it in the evenings, so you have to leave before 6 p.m. Sorry about that. I know how much you all love working late. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is that the canteen has now introduced a cashless payment system. So, you can't use cash for payments anymore. You can pay directly with your smartphone, or you can pay using your company ID card. The total amount put on your company ID card comes off your salary at the end of each month. Okay, that's it. Are there any questions?
In this week's Students Around the World, Min Young Kim interviews an American university student, Lisa Conroy. They talk about living on a student budget.
Thanks for talking with me today, Lisa. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm 21 and I'm a junior at a university in Chicago.
How are you paying for your college education?
My expenses for every semester are almost $15,000. At the start of each semester, I get $2,000 from my college scholarship. My parents pay the rest of the $10,000 tuition, and they give me $2,000 for personal expenses. I have to pay the remaining $3,000 myself.
How do you do that?
I have a part-time job as a waitress. I work 3 nights a week, and I usually earn about $400 a week. In a good week, I can make $600, but in a bad week, it can be less than $300.
How do you spend that money?
It helps to pay for my rent and meals at college. It also pays for things like my cell phone, books, transportation, and clothes.
You don't have much money for fun, do you?
That's true. My mother advised me to stick to my budget carefully so I don't have to borrow. I don't like to owe money. And I don't want to pay the bank any interest. I hardly ever go to the movies. My roommates and I usually rent movies and split the cost. And I don't go to restaurants very often. My roommates and I usually cook our own food, so it's cheaper to eat.
How else do you save money?
I try to walk or ride my bicycle to college. Oh, and I buy a lot of my clothes at secondhand stores. You can find some very cheap, nice clothes in those stores. I also try to borrow books and magazines from the library, rather than buying them on my own. My roommates and I are also very careful to save water and electricity, so we don't have to pay a lot for those things. Dear Sunday Globe, I am writing to you about your article in last Sunday's newspaper, Cell Phones Make Life Easier. You did an excellent job explaining the good points of cell phones. They're convenient, we feel safer always being able to call someone, and they are very helpful in business. On the other hand, you didn't talk about their bad points at all. I hope you'll let me give your readers some advice on cell phone etiquette. The first point I'd like to address is when not to use your phone. It's polite to switch off your phone or turn off the sound when you're in class or in a meeting. If you get an important call, you should ask for permission to leave the room, and then don't talk for too long. Furthermore, for conversations that need more time, it is best to ask the person to call back at a more convenient time. Cell phones can also cause you to neglect the people you are with. I find it really annoying when my friends constantly check their messages on their phone. In fact, I want to tell them to turn off the cell phone and enjoy my company. Another point that needs to be made has to do with personal space. I think it is very impolite to make calls in small spaces or crowded rooms. This makes others uncomfortable and forces them to listen to your personal conversations. Additionally, it disturbs other face-to-face conversations. That's why I never use my cell phone within a few meters of other people, except in emergencies. Lastly, I would like readers to pay attention to the dangers of using your phone while doing something else. For instance, driving and texting is a bad combination. Likewise, using your phone or texting when walking can make you careless. You don't want to get hit by a car. Pay attention to where you're going. Sincerely, Amber Jala.
Traveling soon? Smartphone apps make traveling easier than ever. Unfortunately, with thousands of new travel-related apps to choose from each month, it can take a long time to figure out which applications are truly helpful. Here are 3 apps that will definitely make your next trip abroad a little easier. Talk to me. Say au revoir to language phrase books after downloading the Talk to Me smartphone app. This is a great tool for anyone visiting a foreign country. It works like a translator in your pocket. When you speak into the phone in English, it translates what you are saying into the language you select. You can choose between English, Chinese, French, Spanish, German, and Italian. This app is useful for the everyday needs of tourists and business travelers. It's also great for frequent travelers and language learners. TripIt. Are you always looking for your travel information when it's time to check in for your flight? TripIt combines all of your travel confirmation documents, such as hotel room bookings, into one travel itinerary. Users send their travel-related emails to TripIt, and the app turns it into an easy-to-use itinerary with a calendar. TripIt also prepares maps and weather information for the places on your itinerary. City Seeker. Imagine being able to find whatever you need no matter where you are. A map easily becomes outdated, and a guidebook typically helps you only in places the average tourist goes. What you need on your trip is an app that will tell you where the locals go. Want to find a great sushi place in Singapore? Morning coffee in Barcelona? A tailor in Mexico City? The City Seeker app helps you find these places. It uses information created by Singaporeans, Spanish, Mexicans, and people from other popular tourist cities to give advice on restaurants, gas stations, shops, landmarks, and more.
Every 4 years, the Summer Olympic Games kick off with an elaborate opening ceremony that welcomes athletes from every competing nation. However, preparations and celebrations for the Olympic Games start long before the opening ceremony. The true beginning of the Olympic celebration is the lighting of the Olympic torch and the relay that carries the flame to the host city. The Olympic torch is lit at a ceremony in Olympia, Greece, where the ancient games were held. One requirement for the Olympic flame is that it must be created using only sunlight and a mirror. The flame is lit months before the games, and the first runner begins the great relay among the ruins of an ancient Olympic stadium. The first modern Olympic torch relay took place in Berlin in the summer of 1936. At the beginning, runners were mainly selected from the Olympic athletes, but later, regular citizens, including children, old people, and people with disabilities, began to participate as well. Carrying the torch is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and a great honor. Traditionally, the torch is carried on foot. However, sometimes other kinds of transport are needed. When the torch must go overseas, it is sent on a private plane. The torch has also been carried underwater. For the Sydney Summer Games in 2000, a diver swam with the torch. At the end of the relay, the flame is used to light a giant pot. The light, a symbol of the Olympic spirit, burns throughout the Games.
For many people, the Olympic Games consist of popular sports like swimming, running, or ice skating. Here are 3 unusual Olympic events and 3 athletes who fell in love with them.
Curling. Curling is a sport that is played on ice. 2 teams of 4 players each slide 8 stones along the ice to a colored circle, called the house. The object of the game is to place a stone closest to the center of the house. I started curling very young. Canadian Olympic curler Sammy McCann told us, "My father managed a hotel with an ice rink. As soon as the people left the ice, my friends and I would get right on and start curling."
Trampoline. Kids have been jumping on trampolines for almost 100 years, but it was only at the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney that trampoline became an official Olympic sport. In Olympic competitions, each trampoline gymnast is judged on 10 different skills. A gymnast can score well by showing that they can control their bodies while jumping high and twisting and flipping smoothly in the air. "I love the sport. I've been doing it since I was 5 years old," said Jennifer Perilla, American trampoline gymnast. After Jennifer competed in the 2000 Olympics, as the only American trampoline gymnast, she got a tattoo of a butterfly to remind her of her new beginnings as an Olympian.
Skeleton. The sport of skeleton racing first became an Olympic sport in 1928. Skeleton racers slide down an icy course at very high speed on a simple sled. The sled is called a skeleton because early sleds looked like human skeletons. "I didn't start skeleton until I was 30, said American skeleton racer Zach Gale. "While driving, my girlfriend and I took a wrong turn at Lake Placid, New York. That's where the 1980 Winter Olympics took place. They were offering skeleton classes that afternoon. My girlfriend said, 'Why don't we give it a try?' It was fun. I fell in love with it.